minutes, but gets comfortable. We're going to have a great time tonight. Give you a lot of great information, and just have a good time as we get ready to start a new year for our incoming ball. So we will see you in about 2 minutes to get started, but we appreciate you joining us. Well, welcome everybody to the Tennessee Family Series. Welcome, volunteer family. We are so excited that you are here with us tonight and joining us for this session as we kick off another year of our Tennessee Family Series and have four great offices and four great folks here to give you some more information on what to expect this upcoming fall, to share about the volunteer experience and give you information so that way you can help support your student as they begin their academic journey here this fall. As we're starting tonight, you have the opportunity to ask questions to our panelists. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A feature. You'll notice that the chat is turned off, but the Q&A feature is on. So if you have questions for our panelists that are related to tonight's topic, which is the Big Four, and we'll have our Big Four introduce themselves here in just a minute, you are welcome to send these within the Q&A box. We do ask that you not resubmit questions. Only submit your question once for us, just so it doesn't get bogged down and doesn't get lost. And we're going to get to as many questions as we can. However, there's a lot of people here tonight, so we're going to get to as many as we can, but we may not get to all of them. We also ask that with that, as we have their team members behind the scenes who will also be answering questions. So while it may not be answered live, we will work to answer it behind the scenes, and you will still be able to see that in the Q&A feature. We do realize that unfortunately we have hit some capacity with Zoom tonight. However, if you are watching from YouTube, we want to welcome you as well. We appreciate you joining us. The chat feature is open on YouTube. We ask that you limit those to questions that you may have on YouTube, but we do have staff that are also watching that from YouTube to make sure we get those questions as well. And don't fret, at the end of the session, we will share the contact information for all the offices represented. So that way, if you have further questions, you can reach out to those offices. So as we get started, I want to really just start off by letting our wonderful panelists introduce themselves. And so we're going to go in the order of Mary, Leslie, Julie, Richard, and then Meredith, because that is the order on my screen and the easiest for me to keep up with. So sorry if that's not your screen. But we just want to open it up. Tell us who you are, what department you're with, and if you have just kind of a couple opening words that you want to start with as we kick off our session tonight.
Okay, I'll kick it off. My name is Mary Leslie Patterson. I am the marketing director with Vol Dining. I am super excited to be able to talk to you guys tonight. I am also the parent of two University of Tennessee graduates. You will be experiencing a lot of new features on campus this semester. We've got some new dining locations that we can't wait for you to see, and we're here to answer all of your questions about dining on campus. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Julie Gillette. I'm the Associate Director at One Stop Student Services. Hopefully you've already interacted with One Stop at this point, but if not, our office serves students and families and guests, answering questions related to undergraduate admissions, financial aid and scholarships, questions related to the registrar's office for transcripts and accredited credits and that sort of thing, as well as the bursar's office, so billing and payments as well. So excited to answer any questions. Excited to have you guys here in the fall, and so happy to be here.
Hello, I'm Richard Swearingen. I'm the Director for Housing Administration. Excited to be here, excited for this time of year. We kicked off first-year student room selection today with Living Learning Community students selecting rooms. I've had about 900 students pick rooms so far.
Hi, everyone. I'm Meredith Mincy. I work with parking and transportation, kind of working on the communications end of everything. And I'm really excited to talk with you all tonight because I actually just graduated from UT back in this past December. So I think I can kind of offer some extra help, kind of what it's like to be from a student's perspective.
Awesome. Well, thank you, panelists. Well, for our first question, before we get into department-specific questions, going in the same order, I want to start with just kind of a general question of what is kind of the one piece of advice to start off the night that you would give for new students and for their families? And that can be about anything and everything related to your area. So, Mary Leslie, if you'll kick us off.
Oh gosh, pertaining to my area, dining on campus, all freshmen living on campus are going to have a meal plan. You have a choice of a 5-day or a 7-day. And my advice would be to learn how to use that meal plan, maximize it. I mean, use the dining hall as your kitchen. I mean, you can come in numerous times on the unlimited plan. You can literally come in 40 times a day if you want to. But learn how to use your meal plan, maximize it. And the other thing I would say too is venture all over campus. Look at everything that's available to you, because UT it's a wonderful place. It's a home for everyone. So I would just say get out and explore campus.
I'm going to quickly go through two things that I'd like to share with everybody. I think first and foremost, and everybody on this call would probably agree with me with this, if you are not already regularly checking your UT email, we highly encourage that you start checking that on a daily basis if possible. We are already sending tons of great information to you, lots of resources. Some things require action, so some may just be informational, but if you are not already consistently checking it, please do. And then from like a family or a guest or a supporter perspective, my office deals with lots of federally protected information, specifically finances. And so if you think you're going to be helping your student with grades, money, billing, scholarships, any of those type of things, it's a really great idea to have a conversation with your student about adding you as an authorized user on their MyUTK account. You can find information about that law. It's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. FERPA is what we call it. And so make sure that you have that conversation with your student if you're going to need access to protected information.
We are in our next steps now with room selection. So the two biggest things your student's going to do is pick a room on campus through the university housing portal. And then as soon as that room is selected, they can book a move-in appointment. Those all move-in is by appointment. So once they have a room assignment, then a new link will open up that they can view those. If they're participating in an early start program, there will be specific move-in times for that program. After that, the step would be that I would encourage you to do is to reach out and communicate with your roommate. All students are going to have a roommate. If they've matched in the portal, they've probably already begun having conversations. If they did not match, when they book a room, they will see on their booking summary a list of their roommates and suite mates, and there is a link there where they can send a message. They can view the student's profile, and they can begin a conversation about who's bringing what and what they expect of each other as roommates.
Some advice or kind of input that I would give to any incoming student is to definitely check out all of our apps with parking. So we are super excited to have a really great partnership with CatBus, which is Knoxville Area Transit, and so that allows for our students to travel all around Knoxville for free. And so I love to shop, so I will hop on a cat bus and I can go shopping with my friends one afternoon, and just having that app and knowing like the real time routes and any kind of information like that, I think is very crucial. And then of course we also have we're transitioning to Transloc for our T-bus system, which is our on-campus transportation. That's all free, super reliable. Like, I absolutely love it. I think we have a very big campus, which we're obviously very blessed, but sometimes it's a hike to get to one end to the other. And so I love hopping on like a T-bus, when I was going in between classes, or if I wanted to go get something to eat, go down to the student union, you can just kind of hop on a T-bus. And so I think having those apps and tuning into our social media allows you to kind of stay more in the know.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, and great advice for all four areas. Meredith, I do want to kick it back to you for our first kind of specific question. So many of our questions that have been coming in so far are around parking for first-year students. And so really the main question is from a lot of folks who are saying their student was not selected for parking, and that parking will not be available for their student. Can you really kind of just break down as best as you can a lot of those big details about it, about what that ultimately means, any other options there may be, any hardship processes there could be, as well as what services are offered to students who were not selected in the lottery for a parking permit?
Absolutely. So we found that a lot of our non-commuter students didn't really need to bring a car on campus, just because we have so many resources available for students, whether that's dining options or just everything's in a very walkable distance, as well as our reliable T system that I mentioned earlier. We have buses going all the time. We bought new hybrid buses. Like, it's a really, really great program. And so by kind of leaning on that transportation option, one, it's a lot more sustainable for our campus and, just with any CO2 emissions, anything like that. And so I think that, like I said, utilizing the T-bus for on-campus transportation, and then, as I mentioned, the CatBus partnership, that's a very, very amazing partnership. And like I said, it's something brand new, and I'm so happy that I got to experience in my senior year of, going to UT. And then also we have bikes, and e-scooters are also very, very popular on campus. You can easily rent a bike for $50 for one semester and then get a free bike permit. And so if you want something that's kind of an individual type of transportation, that you didn't get that parking permit, then you can easily use e-scooters or bikes, or like I said, the public transportation.
Awesome. Thanks, Meredith. I appreciate you giving us some more information about that. Mary Leslie, want to kind of move it over to you. You talked a little bit about meal plans and everything in your opening statement, but want to get in a little bit more into the nitty gritty. So, a lot of our families are hearing about these unlimited 5s, unlimited 7s. Can you tell us, what does that mean? What is an unlimited 5? What is an unlimited 7? And can you kind of break down a little bit more about when are students going to pick these meal plans, when they're going to know the differences, kind of what's that process going to look like between now and the first day of class?
Okay, I'll tell you all about it. If you are a freshman living on campus, you will automatically be assessed the unlimited 7 meal plan. What the unlimited 7 meal plan allows you to do is it's dining on campus 7 days a week. So that is Monday through Sunday. You can dine on campus with your meal plan. We encourage everyone to go to dining.utk.edu, and I'll drop that in the chat, to look at our locations, our hours of operation. If you decide, hey, I'm going to go home every weekend, then we also have the option of the unlimited 5 plan. The unlimited 5 is unlimited meals, but it's Monday through Friday. So if you're not going to be there on the weekend, that might be a good plan for you. But if you are going to be there on the weekend, I would go with the unlimited 7. If you are a commuter, there are an array of commuter plans out there. Once again, if you'll check it out on our website, dining.utk.edu, and you can look at all the options that are available for you. The best advice is to look at your schedule, look at where you're living, look at where your classes are, think about where you're going to be dining, and make a plan, especially if you're a commuter, to figure out what plan's going to be best for you. Did I answer everything?
I think so. I think I just learned a little bit of new stuff too. And it's been 3 years now. So that was perfect. So thanks, Mary
Okay,
Leslie.
good. All right.
Richard, want to move it over to you now, thinking about roommate selection. So we've had some folks that have asked if their student missed picking a roommate in the kind of initial window, but now they found somebody, they've learned someone's coming to UT that they want to live with. Can they still pick that? And what does that look like? And that's part A. Part B of that is a question we had come in about if someone missed signing up to be a part of one of our LLCs, is that still an open option? Is there any way they can still apply for that? Kind of break that down about where LLCs stand right now.
So let's start there. Living Learning Communities, the application is closed. If you want to, you could reach out to housingllc@utk.edu and email to see if they could place you on a wait list for one. Some of the LLCs are maintaining a wait list, but as I said earlier, the Living Learning Communities are already selecting rooms. We could certainly work with your student to place them if there was space in the LLC for them to be put into that process. But it would be housingllc@utk.edu, and they could answer that question more specifically. Roommate matching, you're right, has ended. If your student did not select or match to a roommate group, then they would be selecting in wave 4, which will happen later in June. That is our wave for solo students. There's not a way for us to pair them up now, but what we would advise them to do is just communicate with one another and try to select a room in the same building if they're not able to get into the same room itself. Once they're in the same building, they will have a roommate, but in general, a student who's living with a total stranger doesn't care if they're living with a different total stranger, and we can arrange a swap to happen over the summer.
Awesome. That's perfect. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. That's helpful information for our families that are, really kind of talking about it. Julie, want to turn it over to you now. It's your turn for One Stop. So we've already had a few questions that are coming in about, the bills for fall. When is that due? When will they know what they owe for fall? So can you kind of tell us about what students or families may expect to see, over the next couple months as the semester approaches and into the beginning of the semester, of what that process looks like, especially if they've never navigated this process before? And then also for our families, how can they be involved in the process? What does that look like for if they want to help manage their students' bill, or they want to be able to see information? I know you talked about FERPA a little bit, but just want to get into the nitty-gritty of that.
Absolutely. But before I jump into that, I wanted to go a little bit off topic. I just want to say I used the bus system yesterday on campus. It was super easy. It was super great. And then Mary Leslie, my whole office loves to go eat at the dining halls, even as staff members. And I just do such a great job on campus. Richard, I haven't had any recent experiences personally living in university housing, but I know I hear great things. But just wanted to say that, even as staff members, we're utilizing the things on campus because they're so wonderful. So just wanted to say that. Back to your question though, Todd. So we've got a lot of moving parts this summer. Once your student signs up for classes, that is when all of their financial and academic record is protected by FERPA, which I mentioned earlier. So once your student is signed up for any classes at all, their information, you have to be authorized, is what we call it. An authorized user is what we tend to say. So if you want to be helping your student with those financials or academic pieces, to get into the specifics of those type of things, we would ask that you be authorized. And so you can do that by going to this, and the student can go to their MyUTK account, and there's a link for academic FERPA and financial FERPA. And that just opens up our conversation quite a bit. We can talk specifics about what are the requirements to keep a scholarship, or what pieces are missing in terms of student loan requirements and those type of things. And so it just opens up that conversation quite a bit when we're not talking with the student. It is not required. We cannot make a student authorize somebody, but like I said, it's important to have that conversation with your student. If they want to handle all of it by themselves, I think that's great. But if they need help, like I did, or most students do, just make sure that they add you as an authorized user. It's always a very awkward conversation when you have a dad on the phone, for example, and he's trying to pay the bill, and I can't even tell him how much the bill is because they're not authorized. So just really important to do that. The financial authorization is good for 10 years. So once you are authorized, unless the student is removed somebody, then you're good to go. We'll also send you information about billing and that sort of thing once you're authorized. But in terms of timeline for the fall semester, the Board of Trustees is the one who approves the tuition and fees. And I think that they typically meet late June. So we really don't even know what the costs are. And I would say that probably Mary Leslie and Richard would agree, because dining and housing gets approved in that process as well. So we do our best to estimate these costs on our website and that sort of thing, but we're all a little bit in the unknown until those are approved in late June. As soon as they're approved, they get added to our website. I'm sure there'll be press releases and that sort of thing too, about the meeting and everything going through. I will say that we're always very close, if not spot on, with our estimates. So I would say the website is pretty close right now, but that will happen late June. So then we'll post to our website just what those charges are going to be. And then it will probably be mid-July before your actual bill is added to your MyUTK. So mid-July is when your bill will show up on your MyUTK. You will see your financial aid applied to it, and you'll know what you owe for the fall semester only. Tentatively, again, we're waiting on approval. Tentatively, the due date for the fall semester is going to be August 8th. If that changes, or even if it is the same, you will know it, because it'll be plastered to every email on the website. It'll be available for you to know everywhere. But just don't say, oh, that Julie girl promised me it was August 8th. I don't know for sure. We're waiting for approval. So August 8th is the anticipated due date for fall term. I think I covered everything, Todd. I feel like I rambled a little bit, so hopefully I covered it.
No, that's perfect. Great answer, great information, super helpful, and I appreciate it. So I want to actually do a question round robin style again for everybody, because from our questions tonight, we actually have a lot of transfers that are with us and family members for transfer students. And we know the processes for all of your areas look a little bit different for our transfer students. So going in our normal round robin order, can you just kind of break down quickly what that process looks like for transfer students that may be different from a first year student? So if there's any different information they're going to receive, if the process is going to look any different, kind of any of those key highlights that would be important for transfer students. So Mary Leslie, I'll start with you.
Okay. There's really not a lot that's different for transfer students. If you're a transfer student, you have the same opportunity to choose a meal plan and to dine with us on campus. What I didn't say earlier about the commuter students. So if you're a transfer student, you might be commuting, you might be living on campus. If you are an upper class student, being a transfer, then you have the opportunity to choose a meal plan. If you don't choose a meal plan, you'll automatically be assessed the flex plan. What the flex plan is 300 flex dollars that can be used all over campus. If you don't use them, you can get a refund back of whatever you haven't used, or you can apply them to the next semester. So pretty much the same options are open for transfer students. They can choose any of the meal plans, dine with us anywhere you like, and we look forward to having them on campus.
Not a lot different for transfer students in our from our office as well. A couple of things: if for some reason there's a transfer student on here that hasn't confirmed their enrollment or hit that button to say I'm for sure coming to UT, there is a deadline of August 1st for that. So if you haven't confirmed, please do that by that date. The only other thing for transfer students that I can think that may be a little bit different is we do have a scholarship application that is due July 1st for transfer students. So incoming freshmen, that date has passed. It was part of your admissions process. But for transfer students, we do have a scholarship application that is due by July 1st.
For housing, there is a significant difference in that while we guarantee housing for first-time in college freshmen, we cannot guarantee housing for all transfer students. Typically, we have been able to meet the needs of any transfer student who wanted housing, but we run that process a little bit later in the summer. Your student can go ahead and apply for housing now, and then we will notify them in late June of their opportunity to select a room, or if we have needed to, we will place them on a wait list and keep them updated on when they become eligible to pick a room.
Yeah, so with transfer students and purchasing a parking permit, so for the fall 2025 parking permits, the sale dates for all transfer students of all credit hours, it's going to be Thursday, July 24th. And so your transfer student will be able to purchase their parking permit, whether that's non-commuter, commuter, or any kind of thing from there.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Great information. I appreciate you sharing all of that. Mary Leslie, want to turn it back over to you now. So we've had several questions come in about allergens and how those are handled within Vol Dining and within our dining hall. So can you kind of just break down about what steps are taken by your team when it comes to allergens and labeling, all of those kind of fine details, as well as will you kind of tell us a little bit about our dietitian that we have on campus that is kind of one of the services that's offered?
Okay. Most definitely. We have a dietitian, Vol Dining dietitian. Her name is Tatiana Kimball. The best way to get in touch with her, if you go to dining.utk.edu, go to the health and wellness section, and there's a little button on there on how to get in touch with the dietitian. There's no charge for this service. She works in conjunction with the Student Health Center, and she can meet with you confidentially, one-on-one. It's a great service. We see a lot of students with different dietary needs. It might not even be an allergy. It might just be a preference. Whatever it might be, we can work with every student on campus to ensure that they are nourished properly. I'll put it that way. I saw a question, I think I answered it, but I want to answer it live too, as far as how do we identify the different menu items that we serve. And in the dining halls, there are several ways. One way is you can go onto our website. You can choose a location. If you go there now, the dining halls are not open. We are crafting our menu items for the upcoming semester. But once the semester starts, you can go to the website. You can look at, let's say, Rocky Top, and you're looking at going to Rocky Top for lunch. You can see everything that's being served at each station. You can click on an item. It'll break down the ingredients in the item. It'll tell you what the calories are, etc. We also have in Rocky Top, we have a station called True Balance. And what True Balance offers, it removes the 9 top food allergens that are out there. It has separate receiving. It has separate warewashing, all the utensils. I mean, nothing leaves that station. It's all right there together. The food's prepared there. If a student comes up with a plate, he's been to another station, he wants, say, what the delicious butternut squash that we're serving that day. We have to put it on a clean plate and then hand it to the student. So it is a carefully crafted location. Anybody that works there has to go through strict training before they can even work at that station. We see a lot of students with gluten allergies and gluten intolerances. So over at Stokely Dining Hall, we have a made without gluten station. It's not gluten-free, but it is made without gluten. The other thing that we offer too is we have, I think we have 8 or 10 chefs on campus. I know we're hiring new ones right now, so we have several chefs on campus. We always encourage students, if they ever have a question about a menu item, find a chef. They've all got on the white toques, and they are there to answer any question you might have, or reach out to Tatiana. I mean, she's available to help you, and you can always contact me, and we'll find an answer for you. But our chefs also, we've had students who have extreme dietary needs, and we can prepare meals for students with those needs. I mean, it might be, I know we had one year a student only wanted couscous. I know that's extreme, but we made specific couscous for that student every time, she needed it, every time she wanted to dine on campus and wanted that specific couscous. So we are here to definitely give you all the options that you need and to nourish you while you're here on campus.
Awesome. Thanks, Mary Leslie. That's really helpful. I appreciate you sharing that. Julie, want to turn it back over to you. So can you break down a little bit more for us about payment plans and what payment plans look like, when those start, when those end, kind of those fine details about payment plans that we're getting some questions about?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a payment plan option. So like I said, charges will go on your account mid-July. Tentatively, the payment due date is August 8th. By August 8th, 100% of your balance is due, or 50% with a payment plan. So students can enroll in an optional payment plan any semester that they need to. And what it does is it takes the total balance minus any financial aid and scholarships, and then takes that remaining balance that's owed and divides it into a 50% payment due by August 8th, and then two 25% payments later in the semester. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the dates are for those 25% installments, but they're usually towards the end of September and the end of October. So it's a 50% in August, 25 in September, 25 in October. There is a $30 fee to enroll in it. And then if you miss one of those installments, you do get a $35 late fee added to your account. But it's a really great option if you're waiting on a scholarship to come in, or if your 529 is delayed or something like that, that you can enroll in that deferred payment plan and make that 50% payment. I know you didn't ask about this, Todd, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it, that if you don't make that payment, that 100% payment or that 50% payment by that deadline, you are at risk of your classes being canceled. And that's every semester. And so we definitely don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that whatever classes you sign up for with your advisor are what you're ready for when classes begin in August. So just don't let that happen to you by missing that payment or not having things taken care of by the deadline.
Awesome. Thanks, Joy. That's really helpful additional context. I really appreciate that. Meredith, I want to really move it over to you, and this one's a little bit of a two-parter. So looking at, we've had a lot of questions come in kind of based on previous answers about if they weren't selected for a parking permit, are there any other options for parking their vehicle anywhere else on campus, within the city, nearby, kind of any options that might be available that you can share? And the other part of it is, if they're not able to do that, then what does it look like for, transportation to the airport, programs like UT to West Tennessee, stuff like that? If you want to break that down for us a little bit, that would be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that I wanted to mention was another really great transportation option among campus is this semester we're going to be doing Uber and rideshare opportunities, which is super exciting. And we're going to be able to give out some more information on that later on in the summer. As far as parking your car, so if you're a commuter and you are wanting to park your car somewhere on campus, I recommend the park and ride option. So the commuter park and ride. We also have a non-commuter park and ride, but just kind of specifically looking at the commuter one, you can just park your car in the Knoxville Civic Coliseum parking lot, and you take the T-bus. It's a designated T-bus. It runs all day long, and it'll just take you to campus. It's like a quick 10-minute ride. And so that way, your car is still super close to campus. And so if you need to hop on that T-bus later and get back to your car, you can do that easily. So that's a really great option. It's also very economical. It's only $99, which is our cheapest option of parking permits. And so I always tell incoming students, if you're wanting your car, kind of close to campus, that's what I recommend. We also have nearby housing around campus and that sort of thing. Or like I said, car share, carpooling with friends. That's what I love to do. I love to kind of, try to catch a ride with friends if you're going to be going to the same destination. Oh, and then the Holiday Airport shuttle. So we have the shuttle to McGee Tyson Airport, which is we actually just started that last year, and it was really nice to be able to transport any kind of student whenever going to the McGee Tyson Airport, and then from there they can go home, go to a travel destination, anywhere they want. And then we also have the bus to West Tennessee, which is another great travel option.
Awesome. Thanks, Meredith. I know you talked a good bit about commuter options. Can you talk about a little bit more about non-commuter options for students about who may not have their cars? You mentioned there's a non-commuter park and ride. Can you break that down a little bit more about our non-commuter options?
Yeah, definitely. So our non-commuter park and ride, it's very similar to where you can, have your car a little bit off campus, and then the T-bus will just take you to campus. And like I said, same with the non-commuter park and ride, that it's designated T-buses, and so it's very reliable. You can just wait at the bus stop for a few minutes, and then another T-bus will be there to pick you up and take you to campus. And so those run from 7 to 5 Monday through Friday, and so that allows you to be able to have your car nearby. And so, like I said, it's the same thing for non-commuters, but I was just focusing on the commuter because that's at Knoxville Civic Coliseum.
Awesome. Thanks, Meredith. I appreciate that information. Richard, want to go back to you. We've had several questions come in for students who may be moving in a little bit earlier because they're participating in something such as recruitment, maybe Ignite, some of the things that we offer right before the semester begins. So can you kind of share some of the details around what that process will look like? We've had some questions come in about if one of the roommates is moving in early, can both residents move in early? Just kind of break that down for us a little bit about what some of those early move-in options look like.
I was literally just typing an answer to that question from, I believe, Nancy Miller. Yes, the students have to register for the specific program that has an early move-in date. So if they're doing fraternity recruitment, for example, they can, if they've not yet registered for fraternity recruitment, when they go to make their move-in appointment, they can indicate that they intend to register for fraternity recruitment. But we will, by the end of the month, have received verification of all those registrants, and anyone who is not registered but indicated an intent to register will be contacted and told they need to change their move-in appointment. We do have a limited number of those early move-in appointments, and they are there to be available for the students who are participating in the programs. You also, your student's not going to have a great experience if they're on campus that early with nothing to do. So we definitely set aside those for students who are going to be engaged with a program.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Richard. I appreciate that. That's helpful information. Mary Leslie, turning it back to you. So can you kind of break us down? We talked a little bit about meal swipes, a little bit about dining dollars. Can you kind of tell us what the difference is really between these meal swipes and dining dollars, what locations these are accepted at, and then also can students switch meal plans in the middle of it? So, or if they run out of something, can they add more of these meal swipes or these dining dollars that people are just now learning about?
Yes, there are several components to your meal plan. The first are your meal swipes, and your meal swipes are designed to be used in the dining halls. And the dining halls, Rocky Top, Stokely, and then Southern Kitchen, which is over in Vol Hall. Rocky Top and Stokely being the largest ones. When you walk in, you will tap your phone because everything's on your phone now, right? There are no more cards. You tap your phone, you go through the turnstile, and then once you're inside, it's all you care to eat. So you want to use your meal swipes in the dining halls. Dining dollars can be used all over campus. You can use your dining dollars in the dining hall. If you just have a plain dining dollar plan, you can use that to as your payment to get in the dining hall. You can use them in our pod markets all across campus. Pod markets are just like convenience stores on campus. We have health and beauty items, we have food, we have snacks, we have a little bit of everything. And you can also use your dining dollars in the restaurants which are around campus. Say if it's the Big Orange Grill or Chick-fil-A or Panda Express, all of those restaurants take dining dollars. Then you also have your flex plan, and your flex plan is another account that you'll have. And well, if you don't have a meal plan, you'll be assessed the flex plan. Flex plan is 300 flex dollars. Those can be used at all the locations on campus too. So all of those are tenders that you can use, to pay for your food across campus. We also have a feature called cash equivalency. And, pay attention. I want everybody to know about cash equivalency, because if one day, let's say it's Friday night, it's dinner, all your friends are going to Chick-fil-A for dinner, and you're not going to use that meal swipe in the dining hall. You can use that meal swipe at Chick-fil-A for an equivalent amount. And I believe it's $5.50, I believe. So what you'll do is you go to Chick-fil-A, and instead of using your meal swipe in the dining hall, you can use that meal swipe at Chick-fil-A for a value of $5.50. So let's say your meal is $10. $5.50 will come off that total, and then you can pay the remainder with dining dollars, or debit or credit. One thing to note too is we do not take cash on campus in the dining halls or any dining location on campus. So it's debit, credit, or the flex plan, meal plan, or dining dollars across campus.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary Leslie. That's
Thank
helpful
you.
and a great breakdown of those different terms that families and students will begin hearing soon. So I appreciate it. Julie, I want to turn it back to you. So we've had a lot of folks that have been asking about how they can pay when they want to make the tuition payment, especially they've been asking, can they pay by credit card? So can you kind of answer that part on the credit card, but then also any other forms of payment that may be accepted, if there's specific accounts they've set aside or they've been saving up for their students' tuition, what those kind of payment methods look like?
Absolutely. So if you are needing to make a payment, students can pay through their MyUTK account, or authorized users, again through FERPA, will have their own payment login, so they can log in and view the bill and make payment as well. So either one of those will work. We encourage paying online because it is safe and secure, and also applies to the account immediately. Online, you can pay with an electronic check, which is the preferred way of the university to make payment if you can. An electronic check is entering your account number and your routing number, and it's the same thing as handing me a check in person. Pull straight from your checking or savings, however you have it set up. That is a free way to pay online. You can also pay with a credit card or a debit card, but anytime you use plastic, there is a 2.95% service fee that's charged to us through the processing company that we use. And so if you've got really great points, maybe it's worth it to use your credit card, but 2.95% on a tuition bill may not be worth you using a credit or a debit card to do that. But you do have that option. You can also set up scheduled payments if you're on a payment plan. If you're in that authorized user portal or the student's account, you can set up those scheduled payments so it automatically comes out on those due dates. We also accept checks either in person at One Stop or through the mail. Just keep in mind that we have to have the check by August 8th, tentatively that date. And so making sure you get that to us on time. Those are also options. You can also pay by cashier's check, money order, or traveler's check. I've been here over a decade. I've never seen a traveler's check. So if you're going to pay with that, please come find me. I want to see it. But it is an option if you need it. If you're an international student, we have a Flywire option. You can access that through our website to make international payments. And then Todd, the only other thing I'm going to mention is we get a lot of questions about 529 payments, and that those are college savings plans that people have invested in for students to use at a higher education institution. So 529s, love them, right? Those are great resources that we have. Sometimes though, the problem with them is that it can take a while for the 529 to process and send it to us. Most of them send them to us electronically, but it's really up to the financial institution if they're sending us those funds electronically or if they're sending a check. So my recommendation is go ahead and reach out to your 529. Ask them what is their processing time as we get closer to mid-July, early August. But typically you just have to contact the 529, say, I need X amount of money sent to the University of Tennessee. Here's my student's information, my account information, and they will automatically send it to us. You do not require anything from us. Typically, they may want a bill, which you have access to on your MyUTK. So we don't have to fill out anything for you or authorize anything for you working with your 529 institution to have us send that money. Most of the time, they're just like, how much and where do you want us to send it? Now we do have third parties. So if you have invested in something like Florida Prepaid or Tennessee Best or something like that, there is a form that's not quite as common, but if you do have one of those, reach out to us and we can give you the steps on how to do it. 529s are great. Just make sure you know what the processing time is so everything is good to go for the due date.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. That's really helpful, especially about 529s, because I know those get very confusing very quickly. So I appreciate you providing that guidance. I think that's really helpful for our families. Richard, want to turn it back over to you. So we've talked about moving, we've talked about all the processes, but I want to really kind of break down the big day. So once they are here on campus, They are ready to move in and start their time as a Knoxville resident in one of our residence halls. What is that day going to look like for them? What can they expect when they show up? What that process will look like? Just kind of break down what move-in day looks like for a student moving into one of our residence halls.
It's a lot of very fun chaos. It's truthfully, it's fairly easygoing as we've gone to the appointment process. So everyone's not showing up at once. So your family will pull up to their designated hall at the designated time. We do ask that you come at your time, not an hour or so early. I know our impulse is sometimes to be early, but that can really log jam the traffic flow. Depending on the day and the building, most days there will be people out front to assist. You'll pull up, you'll drop off your belongings. A crew of volunteers will get you unloaded while you go, and then you will send your student in to check in to the building while you go and park your car. And from there, you can go up to your room, start unpacking. I will say the rooms are they're student rooms. We do encourage families or roommates to book separate room move-in appointments. It's awfully crowded for you, your roommate, all of your belongings unpacked, plus your family members. And you're going to want to have time to spend a little bit of time alone with your family and lose your temper and yell at each other a little bit and then cry and hug and go get lunch. So it's a great time.
Awesome. Thanks, Richard. I can attest it's a fun day. I will be back out on the golf cart this year. We do provide golf cart. So when you may go park in a garage and you're wanting to get around campus, we do also offer the golf cart transport. So for any of you who will be here this August, can't wait to give you a ride on our golf cart. But it is a fun process. It's a lot of organized, great chaos. So thank you, Richard, for sharing. And it's really an exciting day for students, families, and for us here at the university. Julie, want to go back to you for our last departmental question, and then we are starting to wrap up on time, so we will get into our closing questions. We've had a lot of questions come in, especially in the last few minutes, about external scholarships. So if they receive a scholarship from a civic organization or a club they were a part of, what does that process typically look like, and what responsibility is on the students and the families to make sure that UT has the information that we need in order to receive that scholarship, process that scholarship, and add it to a student's account?
Yeah, great question. Congratulations if you got an external scholarship. We love external money. Every little bit helps, right? Whether it's a couple $100, couple thousand, it adds up for students. So we just need that check from the donor. So typically we recommend that you reach out to the donor, see if they need anything from you. Every donor is different. Some want to see your bill. Some want to see your class schedule to prove that you're enrolled. Some don't want to see anything. They just, again, want to know where to send the check. So you just need to reach out to your donor and find out what, if anything, they need before sending the funds. Then you need to ask them to send the check to our bursar's office, which we can drop that in the chat to make sure you guys have the address. And we ask that you ask them to put your student ID, that 000 number, on the check or with the attachment or something with it, especially if you have a common name. We need to make sure that that money gets applied to the right student. So the bursar's office deposits the money, works with the financial aid office to put it on your account as financial aid, similar to like a Hope Scholarship or volunteer or a student loan or whatever. It shows up on your financial aid package as an external scholarship. And then we apply it to your bill. The biggest thing that confuses people or catches people by surprise, I think, when they first attend UT is that scholarships, external scholarships that are $500 or more are automatically split evenly between the fall and spring semester unless otherwise noted by the donor. So if your donor sends us $1,000 and there's nothing on it to indicate that it's a fall only scholarship, we will automatically apply $500 to fall, $500 to spring. So just wanted to make you aware of that even though we got $1,000 check, you're only going to get half of it right now. So if you want it all applied to one term, ask your donor to, put fall only or something somewhere on the check, or sometimes they send like an attachment with it with information. So we just need to know that information. But we'll drop, I'll drop the address in the chat, so that way you know where to have your donor send it. I would encourage them, probably start asking them early July. We get very backed up with processing, as you can imagine. with financial aid and all sorts of things. So probably early July, I would ask them to go ahead and send it so we can have plenty of time to process it and get it on your account.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. I appreciate that. That's really helpful, especially because those scholarships are so different and so many different pieces to those. So I appreciate you giving that really good general guidance. Well, friends, our time is beginning to come to a close, and so I want to do one more round robin question with everybody. So, really, kind of the ending question as we end our first session of the year really is any closing advice you have, anything that we didn't get to cover in our time together that you want to share, or any encouragement you have for our students and our families. And then ending with what is the best way to contact your office or your department should any of our students or families have any further questions. So, Mary Leslie, the floor is yours.
Okay. Let's see. The one thing that I would encourage everybody to do is please learn how to use your meal plan. Tell your students, learn how to use that plan. The worst thing I hear is someone middle semester saying, a student saying middle semester, oh, I didn't know that. Or, oh, I want them to know how to use the meal plan, how to get the maximum out of that meal plan. Dine with us on campus, explore campus. If you have a question, just reach out and ask us. You can be anonymous. You can email us. Our email is right there on the website. I mean, on the screen right now. But just don't be shy. Ask the questions and just make the most of your time on campus. We have a big, beautiful campus. Thank you, Todd.
I apologize. I'm trying to answer questions in the chat too. There's so many good ones in there still. So something, again, like I said, check your email, check it often. It's really important that you're keeping up to date on all things, whether it's my office or other things going on campus, keep an update on that. The only thing I would encourage is to be proactive regarding your financial aid. We didn't get into all of the specifics. There's just not enough time for all of us to go through every detail, but our team is there to help you navigate that for the first time, dealing whether it was with student loans or scholarship money or whatever it may be. We want to help you through that process, and those conversations are a lot easier to have now and in the next few weeks than they are in late July, and we just don't have enough time to get funding here or whatnot, whatever it may be, before the due date. So just be proactive in contacting us and working with us. The other thing that we didn't talk about is for incoming freshmen, the deadline to submit your high school transcripts and your verified test scores is July 1st. That could also impact your financial aid. If you have scholarships that are based on GPA and ACT, we have to have that information by July 1st. So keep an eye on your GoVols portal, make sure everything's checked off and we've received everything. But you will be getting emails, phone calls, everything from us if we don't have it coming soon, but making sure you get all that submitted by July 1st. As you can see, our contact information is on the screen. We love a phone call. We love a contact through the link provided there. We're happy to connect with you whatever way you prefer.
I think that's me, isn't it? Advice that I'm usually giving families around this time of year, be there for your student, be there to cheerlead and support, let them know that you're there if they hit a roadblock and don't know what to do next, but remind yourself as well as a parent, and I have been there, that this is your student's experience. Let them navigate it, figure it out, and have the experience that they want to have. And then make sure they know that if they feel like they can't move forward or don't know what to do next, they can always reach out to the university or to you, and you can help them. Other advice that I'm typically giving at this time, the Facebook, unofficial Facebook groups are the absolute best place to get the absolute most terrible information. Go to official university websites or reach out to our offices if you have a question, and we'll be happy to answer that. Those Facebook groups are great for supporting one another as parents and celebrating your student, but the information on there is often inaccurate. Other than that, get ready for move-in. We will see you once you get here. Your RA, your resident assistant, is going to be there on your floor ready to greet you and help you start learning to navigate the campus.
Yeah, so some of my advice would be as you're, coming to campus, and even at your first, few weeks of campus, you may have an empty afternoon. And so I would suggest exploring campus, kind of like some of my other panelists have mentioned. We have a gorgeous campus with lots of cool dining options and just scenery. And so I actually, a couple weeks ago, took the T-bus and I, went from Mincow to the other end of the ag campus, and just getting some, social content. And it was so fun to just explore, and especially if, this is your first time coming to UT. So I would definitely recommend taking advantage of our awesome transportation options. And then one thing I want to mention about dining, I absolutely love using the T-bus because it gives me extra time to where I can go on, Grubhub and do a nice little mobile order through Vol Dining, and kind of get any snacks or anything I wanted in between my classes. And so that's something that I would recommend, kind of pairing up the UT transportation options and the Vol Dining is what I really liked as a UT student.
Awesome. Great advice. Great closing advice. Panelists, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, for taking time out of your Thursday night to be with us, to share all of this great information, to answer all of our questions. So thank you, all four of you. Thank you so much. You are rock stars, and I am glad to do this work with you all. To those who have joined us tonight, thank you so much for joining us for session 1. Before we officially wrap up, I just want to give a few reminders. So the first one being, we do have a quick, it's about 3-question post-session survey. We would appreciate it. You can see the link there on your screen. It'll also be in a follow-up email that you will receive about that. If you have not already completed Vol 101, which is your online introduction to UT, we highly recommend you do that. There is a lot of great information from the departments that you see here tonight, the departments that will join us for future sessions, and even more. And it's a great way to go ahead and begin acclimating and learning about all the things that go into being a volunteer. And then lastly, make sure that you have joined the Tennessee Family Association. So this is one of those official communication platforms that Richard mentioned earlier. Membership into the Family Association is completely free. There is no charge. There are no dues. But this does give you access to things like our Tennessee Family Hub, where you will see curated content from departments all across campus, including the departments you see here tonight and many more. You'll see that link there on your screen as well, or you can just search the Tennessee Family Association and you will find that platform. We, again, appreciate you taking your time out of your Thursday night to join us this evening and to be with us as we begin our Tennessee Family series. Our next session is going to be on June 12th, so 2 weeks from tonight. We hope that we're going to see you there again at 7 p.m. We'll be talking about community and leadership on our campus and have some wonderful campus partners joining us. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you again, panelists. As always, go Vols and have a great night.
Thank you all so much for joining us. As you can see, there are a ton of questions that are still unanswered right now. And so I will be sharing, as I promised, a spreadsheet for you all to be able to follow up with folks as long as their contact information was listed. And so we should have that to you all sometime tomorrow so that you can do some follow-up next week. But we appreciate you all. And for those who are joining us in July for the second session, we will see you all then.
Thank you so much. It's good to
Thanks.
see everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.